Hello everyone, this is part 24 of What If Naruto Was in Rosario Vampire, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. A two-man Anbu squad landed on the scene less than a minute later. Already there were people on the street staring at the still burning corpses. The moment the masked ninja arrived, people started babbling at them about what had happened. The words, demon, and Kyuubi, were most often repeated. One old man was screaming that the village was doomed and that the Kyuubi had returned to destroy them for their sins. Some of the frightened people yelled at the man to shut up. One of the Anbu had a mask resembling an owl, the other a cat. Since there were obviously no survivors, the two of them drew away from the gathering multitude to have a quick conversation. It was him, wasn't it? Owl said, sounding a bit nervous. You felt his chakra the same as I did. Who else could have that kind of chakra? Cat replied. Then what do we do? Owl asked. Cat turned north in the general direction of the tower and where most of the clan estates were located, including the Namikaze estates. He had no trouble sensing where that immense chakra was now. For every ninja in the village it was like a signal fire blazing away. He is probably gone home. We have to contain him for right now. We'll need to call in every available agent. Then what? Owl asked. Then the Hokage will decide what's to be done. Cat said. What if he orders us to capture him? Owl sounded very nervous. Then we'll carry out the order. Cat looked at him from beneath his mask. We are the personal weapons of the Hokage. We will carry out his orders whatever they might be. XXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto stood on top of the roof of his mansion. He was in his vampiric form now with four tails swinging above his head. He could hold more demonic energy for far longer in this form. And even if he could not use jutsus, he had other powers at his disposal. He knew, of course, that the ninja of the village would have no trouble sensing him. He was sending them all a blunt message. I'm right here. Come and get me if you want. Before changing into a vampire, he created a couple hundred shadow clones and posted them all along the perimeter of the estates. If anyone came over the fence, he would know immediately and they would have a fight on their hands. Mocha appeared by his side looking very unhappy. Naruto-kun, she was trying to sound patient. You know, as much as I love you, I don't understand you at times. I know they were insulting you, but did you have to K them just for that? Couldn't you have been satisfied with just beating them? He slowly shook his head. No, beating them wouldn't be near enough. He seemed to be staring out into the village. Can you feel them surrounding us? She nodded. There are at least 100. Yeah, it might be all the ANBU in the village. He looked at the watch on his wrist. And they managed to get here in such numbers in just under 5 minutes. Their performance has really improved. He chuckled wryly. All the Anbu who used to be tasked with protecting me when I was growing up were always slow for some reason. They would show up only after people had started beating on me, and then they would just tell them to stop and take me to the hospital if my wounds required it. They never arrested any of the wonderful citizens of Konoha or even touched them. But I guess, in their own way, they were carrying out Sarutobi's orders to protect me. But now 100 of them managed to get organized and get here in just a few minutes after some of the precious villages were attacked. Naruto-kun, she said urgently. I know you hate them. But why did you do it? Why now? I thought you wanted to stay here and be accepted until the time came. Why did you do something so rash? He looked to her and smiled. It wasn't rash, Mocha-chan. I admit I was very angry, but it had always been my intention to start killing these damn villages while I built up my strength. Long before I'm ready to take my final revenge, these villages will look at me like I really am a demon. I'll make them fear me. I'll make them fear me so much they won't even dare look in my direction. I'll make them piss the damn pants every time they see me. The leaders of the village half expect me to be a psychopath anyway, like that Gara guy. And I told the Hokage right from the start I wouldn't tolerate any sort of insult from people. He agreed to let me deal with it as I saw fit. So I'm going to K these Fing villages as I please. Won't that make the entire village hate you? He laughed. The entire village already hates me. Let them. But I'll make them fear me even more. He said happily. He looked at her and smiled. Mocha-chan, would you like to hear what happened on my 8th birthday? She shrugged, not seeing what this had to do with the current situation. Certainly, Naruto-kun. Now, I've already told you how the Kyuubi attacked the village the night I was born, October 10th, right? Yes, you've told me. An awful lot happened on that night. Hundreds of brave ninja SD trying to hold back the Kyuubi. I was born, my mother SD, my dad, the great hero of the village, SD himself to defeat the Kyuubi and trap him inside of me, thus dooming me but saving the village. Feelings were very high, and most people had no mercy in their hearts for a newborn orphan. Most of them only cared that the Kyuubi was inside me and wanted me killed. But Sarutobi had reclaimed the position of Hokage and not only saved me but passed a law he thought would give me a chance at a normal life. No one who knew the truth of the Kyuubi was permitted to speak of it. Penalty for breaking this law was immediate execution. Just about everyone in the village was against letting me survive, but the word of the Hokage was law and the obedience of the ninja and especially the Anbu, at least to the letter of that law, was absolute. So because of Sarutobi alone I was allowed to survive. I see, Mocha said sadly. She hadn't quite realized how completely alone he'd been. I was allowed to survive, but that was about all. From my earliest memories almost everyone I met hated me. It was only a question of how much they hated me. Most people settled for just glaring at me. Some cursed and screamed at me for what I thought was no reason. And some took out their fury with sticks, stones, beer bottles, garbage, and fists. Even the people who were supposedly my caretakers hated me. The best I could hope for was that they would tolerate me. But love, affection, friendship. He shook his head. Those were just words to me. Sarutobi would drop in to check on me when he could, and he was always kind and protective, but he was busy and couldn't do it very often. And do you know the worst part of it? No. What? The worst part was I never knew why everyone hated me. When they would beat me I would ask them. The only answer I ever got were shouts that I was a demon or a monster or that I deserved it. I didn't understand. I figured it had to be something I'd done for everyone to hate me. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to make all that hate go away, but there was never anything I could do. Every day was a struggle just to survive, but one day was worse than any other. October 10th, the anniversary of the Kyuubi's defeat was celebrated every year with a massive festival and a great parade that would snake its way through the village and end at the Yondaime shrine, where the whole village would make offering in his memory. There was feasting and drinking and at night there would be a huge fireworks display. But I never got to enjoy any of it. He laughed dryly. Because for some odd reason all that hatred people had for me would be 100 times worse than on any other day. It was my birthday but I came to really hate October 10th. I would barricade myself into my apartment and just pray that I would be left alone. So that's why you didn't want to celebrate your birthday, Mocha said sadly. Naruto nodded. On my 8th birthday I was alone like always when I heard a whole bunch of angry shouts coming from outside my door. Before I knew it people were breaking it down. I hid underneath my bed, but they quickly found me and dragged me out from under it. Despite being a vampire and surrounded by massive amounts of power he looked frightened and actually shivered. They'd brought cans of gasoline with them and rope. They'd come prepared. They tied me up and poured the gasoline all over me, they even poured it into my mouth. I knew what they were going to do and I screamed for help. I had an Anbu escort at all times, but I guess they didn't notice the 20 or 30 people in my apartment or the fact I was screaming. No one came to save me. I begged them not to do it, I pleaded, I promised to be a good boy and do anything if they would just stop. Do you know what they said to me just before they dropped the match? Mocha couldn't find her voice, she could only shake her head. The one with the match looked right at me and said, "You deserve this." Then he lit me on fire. He stared out into the night. I should have SD, there was no last-second rescue, no way I could get away. I was in the middle of a gasoline inferno, I breathed fire, I saw my skin turn black and fall off. I felt a pain like you couldn't believe, it was so intense I couldn't even think. All I could do was wish to S. But the joke was on 'em, the Kyuubi wouldn't let me S. No matter how I burned, no matter how I suffered the F grew back to burn again. I burned and burned and burned, but I wouldn't. Finally, mercifully I passed out. When I woke up again I was in Konoha Hospital under a heavy Anbu guard. I was in pain and wrapped up like a mummy with tubes sticking out of me, but I was alive. He looked at his wife. And that's why I killed them tonight. That's why I'll kill them all one day. Because any village that can produce people who would do that to a helpless child deserves no mercy. They deserve only to rest in flames. She reached out and put her arms around him. You're right, beloved, that is just what they deserve. She squeezed him tight. And they call us monsters. The two of them stood there quietly for a while. Finally Mocha asked him something. What happens now, Naruto-kun? One of two things, he said calmly. The Hokage will either accept my actions or he will not. If he accepts them, then I expect I will get a message from him to report to the tower tomorrow. He will condemn what I did and try to reassert his authority over me. He may even punish me with my chest seal. But he'll accept that I can do whatever I want with the civilians, just so long as I obey him. If on the other hand he decides he can't tolerate a Ming Jinchuriki, then he'll order an Anbu assault sometime tonight with Jiraiya leading it. They'll try to either arrest or kill me. What do we do if it's the latter? Mocha asked. She sounded only a little concerned. Then we'll kill as many of them as we can, including my dear godfather, before we run away. We can't beat the entire village or even the entire Anbu, but we'll give them something to remember us by. At least until I'm strong enough to return and finish things. What do you think the chances are of that actually happening? He shrugged. Probably no more than 1 in 10, he's got too many plans for me, and I'm sure he considers the civilian population to be expendable. But some of his advisors might feel differently. XXXXXXXXXX. He must be arrested for this, there can be no question about it. The normally quiet Nara Shikaku spoke vehemently. Have we become sooner? Shikaku demanded. Is he to be our Gaara going around terrorizing people? He must be held accountable for his actions. I agree. Akamaki Choza stood up in support of his long-time friend and teammate. It is only logical that Naruto be held answerable under the law. Aburame Shino said in his usual emotionless voice. Danzo glanced at Homura and Koharu. Arresting Naruto might be a mistake. We cannot know the details of what happened. He was nearly killed by the civilian population once before. Can we be certain he did not act in self-defense? Shikaku gawked at him. Is that a joke? He MD a dozen unarmed civilians. What sort of threat could they have possibly been to him? Whatever his reasons, he must be arrested and made to stand trial. He must be treated like any other ninja. The only problem with that is that he's not. Jiraiya said morosely. He was technically not a member of the council, but the Hokage had asked him to attend this emergency meeting. Whether we like it or not, he's a special case. You can't pretend he's just another ninja. Danzo nodded his support. He is our ultimate weapon, and the key to victory in our war. Do you really expect us to put him on trial? Do you really believe we can just put him in a cell? Then what? Shikaku demanded. We just let him go around seeing people. He looked about at the council members. This is Konoha. Have we really become just like our enemies? Speak for yourself, Inuzuka-chum barked at him. Her personality had really changed since she'd lost her son in the war. She had grown bitter and rarely smiled or laughed anymore. I want to see Suna and Sound burned to the ground. If the only way to do that is with Naruto, then I say we leave him the hell alone. Shikaku frowned. He'd hoped to have her on his side. He looked around to try and find another ally. Sasuke, what do you think? Sasuke grinned just slightly. I say Naruto definitely needs to be arrested and put on trial. It's the only honorable thing to do. Yamanaka Ino immediately jumped up. I agree with Sasuke-kun. Naruto needs to be put on trial. There will be no arrest and there will be no trial. The Hokage spoke firmly. I thank you all for your opinions, but I have made my decision. Naruto is indeed our secret weapon and the key to ending this bloody stalemate of a war. For the greater good, for the sake not only of victory but of peace, I have decided to grant Naruto extraordinary latitude. So long as he serves Konoha and carries out my orders, I will not permit him to be arrested for any crime he commits in this village. Shikaku looked at his supreme leader with real disappointment. Sarutobi and Minato would never have felt that way. Hokage-sama, I beg you to reconsider. Once you start down this road, it will be impossible to change directions later. Those 12 civilians who were killed tonight. They're just the beginning. If you permit this, then there will be blood in our streets. And how much ninja blood has been spilled in this war already? Danzo asked, pragmatic as ever. If some civilians to keep Naruto satisfied and loyal, then the deaths are not wasted, they can be counted as casualties in this war. Their will help bring us eventual victory. Shikaku stared at him, disgusted that he could be so cavalier about the lives of their citizens. Aren't we sworn to protect the people of our village? Our duty is to protect and defend Konoha. It is sometimes necessary to sa part in order to protect the whole. Danzo said. Enough, Hiashi said wearily. Shikaku, I thank you for your opinion and the beliefs that I know you hold dear. But my decision is made. Shikaku frowned, but there was nothing more he could do. I truly fear where this path will take us. XXXXXXXXXX. On the rooftop, Naruto smiled and suddenly let his chakra cloak go. He gave his wife a kiss. It's over, we can relax. Anbu went up to the gate and told one of my clones the Hokage wants to meet with me early tomorrow morning. Mocha nodded in relief. They're leaving. She could sense the chakra signatures from the other ninja begin to depart. You've won. He nodded. This is just the beginning, Mocha-chan. I'll never stop. Not until I have paid them back everything I owe them. The meeting with the Hokage actually went better than he'd expected. While the Hokage made a point of telling him he was deeply concerned by the previous night's events, and went on to say such behavior was unacceptable, Naruto noted what was not said. Iruka had told him long ago that a ninja had to look underneath and notice not only the things that were present but the things that were missing. The Hokage did not mention or even hint at any sort of punishment for his actions. He did not threaten any action should something similar happen in the future. What the Hokage did say was, I feel my main responsibility is to care for the welfare of the village as a whole and the ninja who guard and protect it. Were anything to happen to the ninja who served this village, I would be quite upset. The Hokage eyed him warily. Do I make myself clear? With a slight smile, Naruto gave the man a deep bow. Hokage-sama, I think I understand you perfectly. XXXXXXXXXX. Jiraiya was there waiting for him outside the Hokage's office. He did not look happy. You proud of yourself? Jiraiya asked in a gruff voice. Proud? He thought about it. No. Happy. Yes. Tell me something, what the hell were you thinking? Well, Godfather, I was thinking I wasn't going to take any more crap from these pathetic villagers. They need to understand that if they want to abuse me, they'll regret it. And just how were they any sort of threat to you? He smiled coldly. They were about as much a threat to me as I was to them when I was a kid. Damn it, Naruto, Jiraiya growled. This was your chance to start all over again. In time, people might have seen you as Namikaze Naruto, son of the Yondaime and hero of the village. Now they're only going to see you as a threat. Couldn't you forget the past and just start over? Naruto looked at him with that frosty smile of his. Forget the past, he said in a cheerful voice. Oh, I bet you'd just love that, wouldn't you, Godfather? Then we could just pretend you hadn't abandoned me for all those years. I'm not forgetting anything, why should I? When the villagers used to abuse me, they did it because they had the power to, and because they knew they wouldn't be punished. Well, guess what? Now I'm the one with the power. I'm the one with impunity. And I intend to show the villagers about as much mercy as they showed me. You do that and they will never forgive you. Jiraiya said sadly. Naruto looked at him in surprise. What makes you think I want forgiveness? XXXXXXXXXX. Before setting out for the day, Naruto had dispelled his shadow clones and made 200 new ones. He'd explained to Mocha that from now on he would leave them to secure the perimeter and give her any help she needed with the mansion. And if she needed to get a message to him, all she had to do was tell a clone and then have him dispel. So Naruto had effectively secured the mansion for her. So she was rather surprised when for the second time in as many days the doorbell rang unexpectedly. Opening the door, she was again surprised to see who it was. Hinata, what are you doing here? Please pardon me if I am intruding, but I heard what happened yesterday and I was hoping to talk to Naruto about it. His clones told me he'll be back sometime this afternoon. Do you think I could wait for him? Of course, won't you come in? She stepped aside and Hinata nervously entered. And while you're here, why don't you and I have a little chat? XXXXXXXXXX. Jiraiya led Naruto to training ground 7 where Sasuke was waiting. Since you still need to learn more jutsus, I want you and Sasuke to just spar with one another. Just pure taijutsu, let me see how you match up. Jiraiya told them. Sasuke smirked over at his new teammate. Naruto was obviously a terror when facing civilians. But Sasuke had no doubt who the most powerful ninja was. He took up a fighting stance. You know Naruto, this is going to be pretty boring. What do you say we make this spar a little more interesting? Naruto snapped into his own fighting stance. What do you have in mind? How about a little bet on who wins this spar? Naruto shrugged. Fine, how much do you want to bet? Not money, Sasuke told him. Something much more valuable. What? Sasuke's smirk turned into a grin. If you win, I'll get Ino to spend the night with you, but if I win, I get to spend the night with your lovely wife. Naruto stared at him. No bet, asshole, he growled. Hey, what's the matter? You afraid you're going to lose? No, you prick, I don't have any doubts I'm going to kick your ass. But there are 3 reasons why I'm saying no. You mind sharing them? Sasuke teased. 1. Even if I think there's only a 1 in 1,000 chance you could beat me, that's still a chance. I would never let Mocha be with another guy. 2. If Mocha ever heard I made a bet where she was the stake, she would K me. The way he said that made Sasuke think he meant it literally. And 3. Naruto wore a look of distaste. I've met Ino. Sasuke chuckled. Well, you've got me there. You know Sasuke, I don't like having guys even think about Mocha that way. And you've got real guts to come right out and tell me you want to sleep with my wife. Well, what do you expect? She's quite the beauty. Yeah, she is, and if you ever touch her I'll K you. Naruto said with total conviction. That's a promise. I'm not some helpless civilian, Sasuke pointed out smugly. I'm one of the most powerful ninja in the whole village. You really think you could take me? Naruto gave him a frosty smile. Ikeda Tachi, how tough could his little brother be? Sasuke glared at him in sudden resentment. His right hand began to twitch a bit. Jiraiya shook his head. So much for trying to build camaraderie between them. All right, let's start. The 2 of them went at each other with everything they had. XXXXXXXXXXX. Hinata was seated at the head of the long dining table as Mocha came out of the kitchen holding a silver tray. Would you like sugar or milk with your tea? She asked. 2 spoonfuls of sugar, please. Nodding, Mocha put in the sugar and stirred it before handing her the small cup. Mocha poured herself some tea as well before sitting down across from her guest. She added nothing to hers. I see you like sweet things. I like things that are strong myself. Hinata nodded. Some things can be both at once. True. Mocha took a sip of hers. I take it you wanted to talk about Naruto and what happened yesterday. Yes, Hinata answered warily. Is it really true that he killed a dozen people in cold blood? Mocha nodded without concern. It certainly is. I was there with him when it happened. But why did he do it? Hinata asked plaintively. Were they attacking him? No, they were just insulting him. Hinata looked at her in undisguised surprise. Is that all? They insulted him and he killed 12 people just for that. I wouldn't expect you to understand. She took another sip of her tea. When he was a child, Naruto suffered endless abuse at the hands of the villagers. Now that he has power, he does not intend to suffer anything from them. But surely he doesn't need to K people just to make them stop insulting him. You don't understand, Mocha said firmly. These villagers deserve nothing better at his hands. Given how they treated him, I think my husband has every right to do as he sees fit with them. But there are laws. Those laws were not enforced when Naruto was the victim. Why should they be enforced now? Hinata stared at her. She had grown up in a strict household where every rule was to be obeyed without question. She had been brought up to believe that obedience to the law was the mark of a civilized person. Likewise, she had always thought that people who simply disregarded the law were barbaric and criminal. She was not sure how to explain this without giving offense. Mocha eyed her carefully. You find it hard to believe that Naruto could do such a thing, don't you? Hinata nodded. The Naruto I remember was never cruel. I can't believe he would really do such a thing. From talking to you and a few others like Sasuke and Ino, I gather that my husband was seen as something of an idiot when he was a child. Hinata looked embarrassed. I never saw him that way, but I admit that others did. Well, I never knew him as a child, I've only known him as a man. Whatever image you have in your mind of him you should forget. Open your eyes wide and see what he truly is. What is he? Hinata asked a little nervously. He is a very strong man with equally strong passions. He loves and hates with equal fervor and commitment. If you are precious to him there is nothing he will not do for you. Likewise, if you are his enemy he will never stop until he has destroyed you. But the people of this village are not his enemies. They are, Mocha said firmly. You had best understand that right now, Hinata. This was not a one-time incident. More villages will ess at his hands, have no doubts at all about that. He intends to have the villages know their place. I also think it would be good for you to know your place as well. She took another sip of tea. My place, Hinata replied nervously. Mocha set her cup down and looked at Hinata with her red eyes. Unlike your father you seem to be a kind person and I hope we can be friends. Naruto wants that and I would like it as well. But I believe it is best if you understand your position. I am the one he loves. I am his one and only. Naruto may give you kisses and show you kindness, but he will never warm your bed and he will never love you. Hinata turned a deep red. That's, what I mean is. Mocha understood perfectly. You have some secret hope that he will love you someday, don't you? She looked down, unwilling to meet Mocha's gaze. Maybe, just a little, she answered softly. I've heard that you Hyuga are expert at reading body language and telling when others are lying. Is that so? Hinata nodded slightly. Yes, most of the time. Then please look at me while I speak so that you can know I am only speaking the truth. She paused while Hinata lifted her gaze. Naruto only agreed to this marriage because I thought it would be a good idea and a way to improve his position. He only kisses you because I told him it would be all right. Likewise, if I asked him to never speak to you again he would do so. Naruto and I share a love and a bond so strong that nothing short of death will ever end it. We have fought for each other, comforted each other, loved each other, wounded each other, forgiven each other, and risked everything for each other. I understand his heart and his pain in a way that you never could, for it is a reflection of my own. He has told me that I am everything that he needs, just as he is everything I need. I will never love anyone else but him. His heart belongs to me, and I will never share it with another. You will never be anything more than a dear friend. He will never love you. She stopped and looked at the other girl keenly. Now tell me, was anything I said to you a lie? She looked down again. No, she said sadly. She rose to her feet. If you'll excuse me I think I'll go now. Of course. Mocha rose as well and began walking her towards the door. I do truly want us to be friends, Hinata. She looked at her and nodded. I'd like that too. Do you still want to marry him? Mocha asked quietly. She was not really surprised to see Hinata nod. Yes I do, I want to be with Naruto-kun. Even if it's only as a dear friend. XXXXXXXXXXX. The spa had been a major disappointment. Fighting him in his human form without drawing any demonic power, it had been a draw. Though of course Sasuke had been furious about it and sworn up and down that if he'd used his Sharingan he'd have won. Naruto smirked at that. If Sasuke's Sharingan were anything like Itachi's he'd be a real threat. Fortunately from what he'd heard Sasuke's was far weaker and he lacked the ability to draw people into the nightmare realm. But oh, had Sasuke ever been pissed off to find that on straight taijutsu the two of them seemed evenly matched. The bastard only did that well because I was forced to stay in human form and not draw on my power. Naruto thought. If I really went all out I'd S him. An Anbu in mask and armor leapt in front of him. Naruto came to a halt. The Anbu gave him a slight bow. Greetings Naruto-sama, my commander would like a word with you in private. Naruto nodded. Going home would have to wait a while. Lead the way. XXXXXXXXXX. In a small underground chamber the Anbu took him to where a frowning Danzo awaited him. On a small table was a stack of manila folders. I have what you requested, Naruto. Danzo told him in a flat voice. Here are personnel files on every ninja of the village who is of Chunin rank or higher. I have also included dossier files on all the clans including all known members and jutsus. In addition I had the minutes of last night's emergency meeting copied. They should give you a good idea of the feelings of the clans regarding you. Naruto glanced at the Anbu agent who was still standing right beside him. You do not need to worry about him. Just as you trust your wife, I trust my protege. Funny, you didn't strike me as the type to trust anyone. Naruto went over to the table and began to shuffle through the files. This will be a major help. You should know fulfilling your request was very difficult, Danzo said stiffly. Naruto looked up from the files and smiled. It wasn't a request, it was a thing order, like anything else I tell you to do. Please do not speak so disrespectfully to Danzo-sama, the Anbu said in a pleasant voice. Naruto spared him a quick glance. Shut up or I'll K you. That would not be wise, Danzo said calmly. Did the Hokage not inform you that you are strictly forbidden to harm the ninja of this village? Naruto frowned. Not in so many words, but yeah. Do you intend to follow the Hokage's instruction? For now, he turned back to the files. Now where is that special file I asked you about? Danzo handed him a folder that looked no different from any of the others. Here. Naruto opened it eagerly. Looking through it he smiled. Fukashi, he spoke the name and seemed to savor. So he's still in the Anbu. He's married with 4 children, or how sweet. Remind me to send flowers. He handed the file back to Danzo. I want him delivered to me alive. Danzo frowned. I would think you would want to deal with him personally. Oh, I do. But it's too dangerous for me to do it. If I go after an Anbu, it's much too likely I'll be found out. That would be bad considering the Hokage just got done telling me to play nice with all the other ninja. I'll need your root members to capture him for me, and he has to be alive. Danzo shook his head. What you ask is too difficult. Capturing an Anbu within the village without leaving a trace. Impossible, even for my people. Make it possible, Naruto said with a hint of anger. Your emotions are a great weakness, Danzo told him. No, my hatred has been a constant source of strength for me. Now I want Fukashi and I mean to have him. Otherwise your dirty little secret will get out. It may be possible to capture him without suspicion if he is outside the village. Danzo admitted, but he is not a member of my organization. It may take time to arrange things so that no one will suspect he was captured by us. Naruto shrugged. Take your time, I can be patient when I need to be. He gathered up the files. Well, I have a lot of reading to do. He disappeared with a swirl of wind of leaves. I was under the impression he did not know the Shunshin, the Anbu said. It seems Naruto is full of surprises, Danzo said wearily. So he is to be my target. Eventually, Sai, but not yet. Danzo replied. He must live long enough to win the war for us. XXXXXXXXXXX. In a hidden base, a man and a woman in black robes with red clouds waited as a pair of astral projections took form around them. I take it there is some news. A blocky figure asked. There better be, yeah. An effeminate man with long blonde hair spoke. The man in the F nodded. He had orange-colored hair and many face piercings. It seems our target has returned home. Sasori, you and Deidara are assigned to capture him. And how are we expected to capture him in the middle of Konoha? Sasori growled. I am not Itachi, I know nothing of their screens and how to circumvent them. Even as powerful as my partner and I may be, we cannot fight an entire village. The method and timing of his capture I leave to you, Pain informed him. Marvelous, Sasori ground out. Deidara laughed. Lighten up Master Sasori, yeah. Capturing the nine-tail will definitely be a blast. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.